Imagine a small village in Turkey, where the whispers of history echo through the cobblestone streets, shadows cradling secrets long buried beneath the sands of time. Here, in the quaint village of Toket, researchers stumbled upon something astounding, an ancient Bible, older than any text known to humankind. But what if I told you this sacred book holds untold stories that could change everything we know about faith and history? Among its pages lies the controversial Gospel of Barnabas, suggesting that Jesus was never crucified, a narrative shunned by early church leaders. What does this mean for our understanding of the divine? In this video, we'll unravel these mysteries together and explore how this discovery could challenge the very foundations of religious belief as we know it. In the hushed, timeless domain of the ancient village of Toket, nestled away in the rugged terrains of Turkey, a revelation quietly awaited beneath layers of obscurity and silence. It was here, in the labyrinthine caves that scarred the landscape like earthy veins of the past, that archaeologists encountered a profound testament to antiquity, a weathered tome whose existence challenged the very contours of historical and spiritual understanding. This Bible, a tome cloaked in centuries of dust and laced with the whispers of history, stirred an arcane air as it was carefully unveiled. This ancient Bible, unearthed in Toket, presented itself not just as a relic, but as a junction of diverging paths of spiritual narrative. Inscribed in an obscure language, its faded characters danced enigmatically under the limited light of research lamps, revealing stories that meandered away from the well-trodden paths of canonical biblical narratives. It was a window into a world where familiar figures took on roles unfamiliar to the annals of mainstream religious teachings, a universe where stories ran parallel yet distinct, challenging the established montage of Christian tradition. As researchers delved deeper, it became apparent that this was more than just an artifact bereft of time. The narratives contained within this ancient script diverged intriguingly from the traditional tales embraced by millions. Notably, it included the elusive Gospel of Barnabas, controversial and often debated among scholars for its starkly different depiction of Jesus Christ's life, particularly its denial of the crucifixion. The implications of such a text being hidden away were profound, posing provocations to the origins of Christian beliefs and delivering ripples through the historical understanding of the early church. The very presence of this Bible raised insistent questions. Why was such a document concealed? What forces dictated that its narratives remain shrouded from the main body of Christendom? In the echoes of silence surrounding these queries, one could almost discern the clutches of history and politics, paths where doctrines were shaped amidst a crucible of power, influence, and oftentimes persecution. It was a common practice, even in the era the texts may have hailed from, to suppress writings that posed unwelcome challenges to established doctrines. Early church leaders, confronted with the daunting task of unifying diverse teachings and maintaining ecclesiastical control, often deemed such texts heretical. The exclusion of these manuscripts, notably the Gospel of Barnabas, perhaps served as a symbol of the Church's struggle to uphold a singular narrative amidst a sea of theological diversity. One of the remarkable elements of this discovery was the insight it provided into the chaotic yet vibrant tapestry of early Christianity, a period marked by intense debate about identity, theology, and practice. The isolated biblical fragments found within the remote confines of Toket appeared as the muted voices from an era when Christianity was an evolving doctrine, not yet crystallized into the forms familiar today. Through these pages, alternative insights into the lives and lessons of early Christian figures emerged, casting new light on forgotten figures central to the era but later sidelined or altogether vanished from the canonical accounts. These revelations prompted a re-examination of how historical, social, and political currents may have dictated which narratives persevered and which were consigned to the cobwebs of obscurity. Piecing together the themes between the lines of the newly discovered text, archaeologists and theologians alike found themselves revisiting the pathways of would-be lost interpretations, threads that led to stories of saints and sinners, lambs and lions, all previously muted by the tides of orthodoxy. Each story bore not only theological implications, but also a reflection of the existential struggles, the moral dilemmas, and the societal challenges faced by those who endeavored to live by their faith millennia ago. The discovery in Toket stands as a testament to the tenacity and diversity of early Christian voices, echoing across the ages. It acts as a symbolic bridge to the subsequent chapters, which explore further the historical context of early Christianity's survival in the face of adversity. The period which enveloped these writings was fraught with persecution, as illustrated by the infamous reign of Roman emperors like Nero and Diocletian, who set into motion brutal campaigns meant to quash the burgeoning faith and its sacred texts. As the narrative weaves through this tapestry of persecution and preservation, the chapters to follow highlight the clandestine efforts to safeguard cherished teachings for future generations, a poignant testament to resilience and faith. This chapter in Toket is thus not an isolated discovery. It is a profound piece of the expansive mosaic that captures the enduring struggle for spiritual integrity amidst ceaseless waves of historical change. As we delve into the deeply tumultuous period of early Christianity under Roman rule, we uncover a saga not just of survival, but of relentless determination and sacred defiance. The early Christians faced a world where their beliefs were not merely questioned, but mercilessly persecuted. This chapter uncovers the tale of persecution and preservation, where the sheer tenacity and faith of these early believers ensured the endurance of their sacred texts, essentially shaping the future of Christianity, despite the relentless efforts of the Roman emperors to obliterate them. During the reigns of emperors Nero and Diocletian, being a Christian meant living with the constant threat of brutal persecution. Nero, notorious for his tyrannical rule, scapegoated the Christian community following the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD, blaming them for the catastrophe. This set in motion a heinous campaign of torture and execution reserved particularly for the Christians, who were seen as defiant insurgents of Roman religious and cultural traditions. Nero's persecution created an environment of fear that deeply scarred the early Christian community, but it also steeled their resolve and solidified their faith. Many Christians at this time became martyrs, choosing death over renouncing their beliefs. Indeed, tales of these martyrs inspired the dedication among the living, turning oppression into a tool of spiritual empowerment and collective unity. The devout faith of these early Christians can be seen not just in their willingness to face death, but in their determination to preserve their sacred texts, which held the teachings fundamental to their faith and identity. Emperor Diocletian, ruling from 284 to 305 AD, intensified the persecution with what became known as the Diocletianic or Great Persecution, the last and most severe persecution of Christians within the Roman Empire. Diocletian issued edicts that sought to dismantle Christian structures, ordering the destruction of churches, the burning of Christian texts, and the stripping away of legal rights from Christians across the empire. More Christians faced trials and brutality, their texts hunted down with an ardent determination to erase them from memory. The sacred texts, deemed anathema by the state, became symbols of resistance. To preserve their scriptures, Christians developed ingenious methods to copy and hide them. Facing extreme consequences, those entrusted with the writings worked by candlelight in hidden enclaves, catacombs, and caves, knowing the fate that awaited them if caught. These clandestine acts of copying not only ensured the survival of their beliefs, but also represented silent defiance against tyranny, illustrating an unyielding commitment to their cause. Catacombs, those vast, sprawling underground burial sites beneath cities such as Rome, served as covert sanctuaries for these sacred writings. Not merely places for the dead, these labyrinthine passageways were transformed into living archival networks made possible by the collaboration between scribes and believers who vowed to protect their spiritually nourishing texts at all costs. In these cool, echoing chambers where whispers of prayer and resolve mixed with the damp air, sacred writings found refuge. Beyond catacombs, remote villages often became havens for these persecuted Christians, with trusted families and communities safeguarding scrolls and manuscripts away from Roman eyes. Trust resided at the core of such preservation efforts, knitting bonds that transcended geographical and social divisions, manifesting in a shared imperative to guard their divine knowledge. We see in these perseverant acts a direct link to the discovery in Toket, wherein hidden texts, long safeguarded by ancestral generations, were finally brought to light, offering an unvarnished glimpse into the burgeoning spiritual landscape overshadowed by oppressive regimes. These recovered works not only tell differing tales of familiar narratives, but invigorate ongoing discussions on faith, truth, and authenticity within Christian doctrine. The era of persecution ultimately did not extinguish the flame of Christianity, but rather fanned it, hardening the resolve of believers who drew tremendous strength from their faith. The preservation of their teachings, carried out with unwavering devotion amidst unimaginable hardship, ensured that Christianity not only survived but thrived, reflecting a legacy of resilience and conviction. In comprehending the context of this historical period, we gain a more profound appreciation for the enduring texts that have been passed down through centuries, often secreted away under the shadow of persecution. As we transition to exploring the particularities of the Gospel of Barnabas and other lost texts, we must remain mindful of the persecuted past, for it is a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made for these now rediscovered narratives to survive and be shared today. The discovery of the Toket Bible, nestled away in an obscure Turkish village, unveils an astonishing narrative, one that sheds light on the enigmatic tale of the forbidden gospel and lost texts. This ancient compilation, older than any known manuscript previously discovered, introduces us to an alternate tapestry of biblical history recomposing traditional understandings, shaking the bedrock of established Christian doctrines, and beckoning us toward a deeper, introspective journey. At the heart of this discovery lies the intriguing Gospel of Barnabas, a text long considered heretical and fiercely forbidden by early church orthodoxy. The ancient tome paints an alternate portrait of Jesus' life and narrative that starkly contradicts conventional Christian teachings. Unlike the canonical Gospels, the Gospel of Barnabas claims that Jesus was not crucified, presenting a perspective so jarring that it was promptly excluded from the religious canon by early ecclesiastical authorities who sought to shape a cohesive and uniform doctrine. This alternate account of Jesus' life challenges dogma, inviting believers and scholars alike to revisit preconceived notions about divinity, sacrifice, and salvation. This section of the Toket Bible represents a fragment of a larger puzzle trove of lost and suppressed texts that were systematically hidden and forgotten over centuries. Beyond Barnabas, this rediscovery also touches upon other excluded manuscripts, such as the Gospel of Thomas and the Book of Enoch. These texts, ostracized and labeled as incompatible with orthodox teachings, suggest rich, mystical spirituality that extends beyond the boundaries of conventional religious thought, a spirituality that invites believers to explore the divine in unorthodox, transformative ways. The Gospel of Thomas, a collection of Jesus' sayings, presents insights that eschew rigid dogma in favor of personal spiritual awakening. Its emphasis on internal transformation, alluding to the kingdom of God existing within the individual, challenges believers to seek a personal, intimate connection with the divine. This perspective elevates spiritual introspection as a path to enlightenment, encouraging followers to transcend mechanical ritual in favor of profound, personal experience with the sacred. Similarly, the Book of Enoch, a once influential text among the early Jewish and Christian communities, ventures into apocalyptic visions and cosmological paradigms that deepen our understanding of the spiritual universe. This ancient script intricately weaves celestial narratives involving angels, heavenly realms, and impending human redemption, encouraging believers to comprehend faith as a multifaceted journey through visible and invisible realms. Yet, due to its expansive, nonconformist vision, it too was cast aside, disappearing into the shadows of history, all but forgotten until moments such as today's rediscovery. Unraveling these texts iteratively unfurls layers of neglected spiritual wisdom. The rediscovery of the Gospel of Barnabas and other such apocryphal writings invites individuals to ponder how theological politics have historically forged and potentially confined our understanding of spiritual truths. Could these concealed scriptures not only offer insight into alternative historical accounts, but also serve as gateways to a more comprehensive divinity that transcends the bounds of religious structures? The narratives concealed for millennia may very well hold the power to ignite a resurgence in personal revelation and deeply personal spiritual exploration. The unfolding of these secrets is not merely an academic pursuit, but a cultural and spiritual reckoning, an invitation to reevaluate the long-standing narratives handed down through generations. It is an opportunity to envision faith not as a rigid adherence to dogma, but as a dynamic, evolving connection to the divine cosmos, where ancient wisdom merges with modern spirituality in a dance that spans dimensions beyond our reach. As the Toket Bible's revelations filter through the annals of both sacred and secular discussions, they challenge us. They dare us to question not only what was lost, but why it was lost. What do these forgotten texts say about the journey of faith, and what wisdom do they offer for those who seek to align their lives with the timeless dance of the divine? The seeking and understanding of these answers may very well redefine how the modern soul engages with the ancient threads of spirituality woven into the tapestry of time and existence. In the shadowed corners of Turkey's ancient landscapes, the Toket Bible emerges as an unexpected beacon of transcendent understanding, offering a bridge between the forgotten relics of human spirituality and the complexities of modern faith. Its pages, weathered by time yet resilient in message, invite us to a rediscovery, not only of historical narratives, but of wisdom long obscured by the veils of ecclesiastical authority and dogmatic tradition. When texts like the Toket Bible resurface, they serve as reminders of a broader, perhaps more inclusive spiritual journey. Just as archaeologists delicately remove layers of soil to unearth a hidden artifact, the past's quiet call demands we carefully peel back layers of assumption and interpretation to view spirituality not through the lens of institutional religiosity, but with a deeply personal clarity. Here lies an invitation to engage with the divine on an individual level, free from the constraints of rigid doctrines and the intermediary structures that have, for generations, dictated the terms of spiritual engagement. In the Toket Bible's rediscovery, we are thrust into contemplation of what might have been absent or misrepresented throughout centuries. It challenges us to reassess the narratives that have been enshrined in the traditional canon. What if, these texts suggest, such omissions were not mere clerical oversights, but a concerted effort to streamline cosmic truths into a palatable dogma? Such a revelation is simultaneously liberating and terrifying, liberating in its potential to foster spiritual independence, terrifying in the way it upends long-held beliefs, requiring a re-evaluation of what one holds sacred. But what is gained from welcoming these ancient voices back into conversation with our spirituality is profound. They carry whispers of a time when faith was as much a personal exploration as it was a communal experience. The Toket Bible, along with other non-canonical texts, presents narratives and teachings that emphasize a mystical connection with the divine, suggesting that the path to spiritual enlightenment is unique to each individual. This is the essence of rediscovered wisdom. It empowers individuals to believe that their pursuit of the divine is valid, rich, and deeply personal. Consider the way these alternative texts highlight characters and stories neglected by conventional scriptures, each a testament to the multifaceted nature of spirituality. They invite believers to look beyond the surface of religious practices, enriching their faith through deeper understanding and empathy. No longer confined to the black and white pages of a predetermined script, believers traverse a vibrant landscape of possibilities where spirituality is as intricate as life itself. The Toket Bible's unveiling beckons us to introspect on the personal nature of our beliefs and the potential for spiritual growth that lies beyond institutional walls. By witnessing a narrative where one's relationship with the divine is personal and direct, individuals are prompted to embark on their own forms of reflection and meditation, experiences that transcend ritual and ritualize one's own life as sacred in itself. Such revelations necessitate a shift in how modern spirituality can be practiced. It paves the way for faith communities that embrace questioning as a vital part of spiritual practice. Here, doubt isn't met with condemnation but with curiosity. This is a perspective where questioning becomes a tool, not a threat, to understanding the deeper truths. One begins to see that doubt, guided by faith, leads to a fuller understanding of divine love and presence. Could this be a return to an ancient form of spirituality, one that thrives in the questioning and values the search over the arrival? The secret, the Toket Bible seems to suggest, isn't in knowing all answers, but in nurturing an unwavering trust in the divine journey. It's about valuing personal experiences and insights just as highly as traditional teachings, recognizing that wisdom can come from unexpected sources, often rediscovered at the right moment to illuminate our paths. In this light, we are invited to not merely read the rediscovered texts with eyes alone, but to understand them with both heart and spirit. They call for an engagement that extends beyond academic inquiry, an embrace that reassures us of the continuous unfolding of spiritual truths in a universe that is alive with meaning. This new perspective nurtures an inward journey, one that reawakens a sense of awe and ultimately presents spirituality as an endless dialogue between the sacred text of the self and the world. Thus, the rediscovered Toket Bible is not an ancient relic dug up from the past, but a living conversation waiting to happen, offering new perspectives on how we understand, practice, and live spirituality today.